CQ RAYNET, CQ RAYNET. This is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions and information, with additional information available on the RAYNET UK website at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you are instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it clear you want to check out at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I'll repeat who I've heard. If you're not acknowledged, then please do try again, and I will call for any strays. That's people who've missed their turn to call in at the end of the UK and international sections. So we'll now begin taking check-ins to the net as usual in call sign number order. So any stations with a figure 8 in their call wishing to check in, please call now. This is G4 NLC.
Golf 8 Echo Yankee, G8 EEY, name is Mike. Good afternoon, Greg. Golf 8 Sierra Delta U-turn. Name's Bob. In and out, please.
It's G4 and RC, so I've got Mike, Golf 8 Echo Yankee staying with me, and Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform in and out. Good afternoon to you both. Any other rates, please? G4 and RC, over. RC, nothing heard, so let's have 7. Stations figure 7 in that call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over.
Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, name is Stephen, Dame Valley Group.
Golf 7 November Echo Hotel G7NEH.
G4 and RC, you've got Stephen, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, loud and clear. Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, would you like to go again? Just got a digital burst from you, no audio, over.
Yeah, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel G7NEH. Good afternoon, Greg.
E7NEH, good afternoon, Graham, loud and clear that time. Any other 7s, please? G4 and RC, over. C, nothing heard, so let's have 6s. Stations figure 6 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Mike 6 Golf Bravo Lima and 6 Julia Lucas here. In and out, please.
Mike 6 Golf Bravo Lima, good afternoon, Lucas. Copy to you in and out. Any other 6s, please? G4 and RC, over. For an RC, nothing heard, let's have 5. Stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. For an RC, not many 5s in the organisations, we'll go straight to 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
G4 in RC, 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet. Good afternoon, Greg.
Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot G48UF. Phil, what do you make? G4XUR, Golf 4X on radio. Romeo, apologies. In Somerset. In and out today, Greg.
G4RC, so I've got Trevor G4KUJ assisting with the log as well. Phil G4HUF has made it back after the LDWA, and David Golf 4 X-ray Uniform Romeo who's in and out. Thanks for that, chaps. Any other fours, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so let's have threes. Stations figure 3 and their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-ray, Ian. Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel, near Tor Point in Cornwall. In and out this afternoon, Greg. Thanks for running the net.
G4 and RC, so it's good afternoon, Ian. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-ray staying with me, and to Chris who's in and out. That's Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel. Any other threes, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, then let's have twos. Stations figure 2, call sign, and that includes you intermediate twos. Please call now, over.
2 Echo 0, Charlie Sierra Mobile, in and out, please, Greg.
Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra Mobile. Good afternoon, Colin. Copied you in and out, but your signal was nice and stable. Any other twos, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard. Let's have ones. Click a 1 in that call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, second call, any stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so we'll have Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over. G4 and RC, we've broken them. Any Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please call now, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so we'll have Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over. G4 and RC, second call for any Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, over. G4 and RC, any UK station who's missed their turn to call in, please call now. This is G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, then any of our international colleagues, please. That's usually Nord-Samband of Norway, Aran in Ireland, Aries in Slovakia. Any of our international colleagues, please. G4 and RC, over.
Lima Alpha 6 in your Mike, name is Hans, in and out, Greg.
6 India Mike, G4 and RC. Good afternoon, Hans. Copied you in and out. So any stations UK or international who've missed their turn to call into the net, please go now. G4 and RC, over. nothing heard, G4NRC. Okay, usual initial warning, Graham, G7NEH, is hopefully live streaming the net to YouTube as usual today. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel on YouTube. Watch the video and then smash the like and subscribe buttons so he knows that you're out there and appreciate what's being done. Remember also that these news items also go out in the Friday news for all members, so sometimes I'm writing for an external audience. But a solar flare earlier in the week has caused a geomagnetic storm which affected the HF team nets today and propagation generally. VHF and UHF isn't immune to propagation difficulties, and tropospheric enhancement of paths may allow groups hundreds of miles apart to start interfering with each other. Do you have any plans in place during an event to switch frequencies to mitigate interference? Or even better, do you put your event information in the national diary so any conflicts could be resolved? And highlighting the frequencies that we get to select from, recently I was asked by an organiser what radios we used and how we get coverage into some apparently impossible areas. Obviously thinking we were one kind of homogeneous service you could just buy off the shelf. How do you explain to an organiser just how many tools and frequencies we have available to us in the amateur radio service? So, with those two bits of thought-provoking, what does that do to everybody this week? Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC from G8 EEY, just waiting for my high-speed brain to compute those last couple of things. Yes, well, yeah, solar flares, yeah, well, we generally tended to get, certainly on low VHF bands, a lot of interference between Norfolk, East in general, and the continent, especially Holland. Certainly used to affect broadcast television quite a lot. Yes, 22 centigrade today. You don't need to log that bit, which is quite warm. 1,011 millibars, quite dry at 33% relative humidity, and round about 4 out of 8 chunks of cloud cover. Yes, we've also got a 5% lightning risk most days during the next 7 days. It's always difficult to explain how we do what we do. Unfortunately, it's not just the equipment, it's the skill in usage. It doesn't matter how good your radio is, if you're in a lift, you're not going to get out very well. Difficult to explain that. And also, if people are hurtling around, moving around, and they get not spots and hot spots, well, yeah, we do. That's why we tend to stand still if necessary. From G8 EEY.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 NRC. Yes, I didn't go down into the skill bits because I know there's paths I would consider workable because I can understand what my operators are saying at the other end of the link. But an organiser probably wouldn't be able to drag out the information. Okay, noted the rest of the information, and we'll go to Stephen, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Noting your air show next week is actually starting to get some special traffic measures put in place on the M54. Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Very good afternoon to all on the net. Yes, that's it, week to go to the air show. Yep, always special traffic measures. I do believe it does start to back up onto the motorway, but shouldn't really affect me, as I'm going the day before, so I'll avoid all the air show day traffic. So yes, we should be running all sorts of stuff. However, at the last minute, we discovered that the powers that be have rescinded the radio site clearance for Cosford. So we used to be able to operate the whole amateur spectrum on the site, but that has been rescinded, and we've had to get a temporary deployment authorization for 20-metre band only. So the special event station, Golf Bravo 5, Charlie Alpha Sierra, will be running on 20 metres only at 100 watts using a dipole antenna. At least it makes the aerial a little bit easier, and we don't have to do band swapping halfway through the day. So we'll be on 20 metres only, and the rest of it will be military frequencies only. But it should still be a good day. We've got a few VIP guests that are coming to see what we're doing, so got to be on our best behaviour. Over.
Mike 7, Victor Sierra Delta, G4 and LC returning. Okay, that's a little unfortunate, but wonder what's changed the attitude. I was actually expecting he's had more of a hassle about how big an antenna to put up, given the wobbling around flights that might be getting in the way. However, 20 metres should still get you some publicity and get out there, certainly within the UK this afternoon in the geomagnetic storm. Very difficult working. Another RAYNET member on 40 metres. Pretty impossible on 60 metres. And at the moment I've dropped down to running JS8 call on 80 and not being seen or heard anywhere, so this storm needs to go away by 2 o'clock tomorrow morning is the hope and expectation. Okay, thanks for the update, Stephen. Let's go to Graham and see what the viewers think. G7NEH, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, G798. Good afternoon, Greg, and good afternoon to all on the net. Last week's viewing figures were 34 views and 3 likes, and the weather today, it's about 17 degrees and quite gusty. The wind is gusting about 12 mile an hour at some points. So there we go. But the sun is out now and again, so it's not too bad at all. Not a lot else to add. It is always well, it is quite difficult, as we've said, to explain to organisers what we use and how we use it at times, especially if they've got no knowledge of radio, etc. So yeah. Okay, I'll give you this week's viewing figures on the next round. G4 NRC, G7NEH.
G4RC returning. Okay, well you'll know which organisers I'm talking about, given the recent events. But they're getting better. We don't have the mag mounts of their PMR gear slapped to the top of the radios anymore. They at least put them up onto the ceiling grid of the suspended ceiling to try and get things a little bit more separated. But yes, some interesting education to be done. And certainly note the wind is rather gusty around here, but that has had a positive effect on the grid pricing, because we've been paid to use electricity this afternoon, so there's always a win somewhere. Okay, thanks Graham. Let's go to Trevor, G4KUJ, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC in the group, G4KUJ. Replying, yes, good afternoon Greg and everybody else. Thanks for the calling me in, of course. What have I been doing? Well, I've been away for the last couple of weeks. Away in Worcestershire. But I take my digital go-away type kit in a small flight case, which meant that provided I could get to the internet, which I did via a small router, then had both Arden and DMR available for the a couple of weeks. So that's proved my my digital portable system again, which is good. So that's about all I've done this week. did manage to check that I could.
G4KUJ, G4NRC, you broke up after everything had worked okay with your Arden and DMR equipment. Trevor, wonder if you've stopped talking and hearing this. G4KUJ, G4NRC, over.
Yes, hearing that. Sorry, perhaps the figure dropped off the PTT or something. No, I was just saying that I've proved my portable digital system and managed to update Arden node at home from a remote, so that was all really good. Back to you from G4KUK.
G4KUJ, G4NRC returning. Okay, yes, well I'm still playing around with Arden version control to get something that works. Your DMR signal, however, was not a thing of trouble. That was some packet breakup as we went through a lot of the over, to be fair. So something else was going on. And that reminds me, Graham G7NEH, your audio was a little on the hot side, I think, on this week. But I'm sure Phil will have a comment on it, and so will Ian. G4HUF next, though. Back round to you, Phil. G4NRC, over.
This is Gulf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon to everybody else on the net. Yeah, right. Well, with regard to Graham's audio, yes, it's still a little bit louder than everybody else's, but after he tweaked it the other week, I do not instinctively go for my volume control. So from that point of view, personally, I find it acceptable. Explaining to organisers. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, yes, I make sure that people are aware that we're not on a fixed frequency, you know, like with the DMR system, and we've got a lot of flexibility there. But I also point out to them that on occasions, radio can be a black art. And, you know, classic example of that was last weekend. One of the checkpoints that I was covering, it was deemed that it needed a mast. And when we got there, I think there was only 4 walkers due. And consequently, it was also deemed that I didn't need to rig one. And I positioned myself, I positioned the car in virtually the same spot as where a mast had been located under the front wheel of a vehicle of a similar size. And my dual band antenna on the rear of the vehicle had a path into control, whereas the previous team that we were relieving were, to put it bluntly, struggling in that regard. So that definitely confirms the fact that it can be a black art in that regard. Because the other classic one like that was when the bobbies used to complain about performance of their radios. Their standard comments, you can talk to the man on the moon, but we can't talk to the bobby down the road. So that used to end up with a very long technical discussion, which blinded them with science, and they soon shut up. So there we go. Anyway, I didn't go down to Suffolk for the long distance walkers event. I went down there for a school visit, revisit my old school. And the fact that I was in the area while the LDWA event was going on seemed to seemed to encourage me to get involved with that as well. And to be honest with you, I'm delighted that I did. Overall, we had a damn good weekend. The school visit was brilliant, and we had a lot of fun on the LDWA. Anyway, I'm probably sending people to sleep now, so I'll pass it back to you. This is G4HUF.
G4HUF, G4NRC returning. Yeah, I used Black Art in my response to the organiser, waiting for them to come back to me, but wondering if it will be a prelude to getting maybe some more events out of them, since we're finding that the people who've now taken over the half marathon organisation also seem to be involved in a triathlon, which was being run around Chester today, which equally can be a bit challenging when you're trying to work around a river with some obstacles in the way if you're down at water level. Glad you enjoyed your weekend away, and certainly noted how difficult it is to get somebody to understand how small a blind spot can be. And if you've got that knack of finding all the blind spots, you will never have good comms. Okay, thanks, Phil. Last one on this round, then it's Ian. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC in the group, G3ZHX. Good afternoon, all. Yes, your original question is how you explain to an organiser. I've never actually had to do that, fortunately. But the first word that came to mind was skill, which might be a little bit too blunt. What I would probably explain is that we have the ability to put up temporary base stations, I would call them. I am, of course, talking about talk-throughs, but for the purposes of talking to members of the public, I would probably call it a base station or maybe a tower. I'm not sure what the socially acceptable word is these days, since they started burning down the 5G ones. And Graham's audio seemed fairly normal to me, except, of course, I did drop out earlier and listen to it on the on YouTube, and it's just barely audible on that, so there is a paradox there. I realise he has some problems, he has explained before, so one has to live with it. When I didn't have a DMR radio and I was listening to the YouTube, I must admit I did not understand enough of his spiel on that occasion to follow it, but that's just life, as I say. Okay, I will now hand it back to you, back to G4NRC. This is G3ZHX.
G3ZHX, G4NRC. Okay, well, maybe Graham's audio was loud to me because he is only a couple of miles away, and I know it's going through the internet, but maybe I'm hearing him direct, you never know. Okay, thanks for that, everyone, and glad everybody suffers the same way I do. Just thinking about the rest of this month, there are going to be a potential couple of days where I'm going to need somebody else to pick up net control, not least of which the 29th of June, when it's the Friedrichshafen Radio Fair, and while I will be there and will have, hopefully, lots of decent radio gear with me since I'm driving down this time, I'll actually be driving between sites that afternoon, so I'm not sure I'll be in a location to play the net, to play running the net. Likewise, we've got an event on the 15th of June that I might be on, which might cause issues, so just dropping that flag out there early. If anybody wants to volunteer running the net, then please let me know next week. Right, let's see if we've got any final comments from everybody and any further observations. So back to you, Mike. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC from G8EY. Yes, it's always a problem because, as everybody knows, Norfolk is absolutely flat. But in the days when we used to cover things like the Norfolk Cycle race from Cromer into the city centre in Norwich, I tended to be at the checkpoint at Geister Green, which is one of the major risk areas, being at the in the bottom of a downgrade and a really severe bend, and I had to use a 9-metre mast to get any 2-metre coverage to the control at the cathedral in Norwich. And indeed, you needed a 9-metre mast to get a cell net signal as well. So an absolute black spot there. Yeah, well, we tend to try and remember where these holes are. That's half the battle, really, knowing where you can get signals and where you can't. Thanks for running the net, Greg, and good afternoon to everybody, and might hear you next week then. From G8EEY.
Echo Yankee, G4 and RC returning. Yes, I'll be around next week, hopefully slightly less flapping, given trying to do a HF net earlier today and then rolling onto this one and some other chores to do. Yes, slight gradient changes. I know that from my local cell phone signal. My part of this village is only a couple of metres lower than everywhere else, but it's enough, even on cell phone coverage maps and their fine prediction software, to show a bit of a hole for getting RF in and out of. Okay, thanks Mike, talk to you next week, and Stephen, good luck with next week. Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Yes, it promises to be a very, very good weekend. I'm certainly looking forward to it, and with all this black magic of radio, that's certainly where I'm up to with my group of cadets at the minute. I've just taken a few of them for the basic radio operators course, and there the slides are up to how, well, basic propagation and frequency bands and equipment, so that's sort of where I'm up to with them, sort of explaining all of that. But thinking I probably won't be on the net next weekend, because at that time I should imagine I should be de-rigging masts and aerials. We're operating from 9 o'clock local until 1500 hours local, so by the time the net comes around I'll probably be dismantling everything and getting ready to come home. But I'll say thanks for running the net, and I'll speak to you next time I'm on it.
Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4 NRC returning. Okay, well, hope all goes well. Of course, if your frequency clearances were that restrictive, you might not be able to run UHF from the area as well, I imagine. So can't even use the joys of DMR to demonstrate radio over a wider area. Anyway, good luck, and look forward to hearing the report. Okay, Graham, since everybody else tells me your audio is fine, my apologies, and let's see how we're getting on with viewers this week. Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, G7NEH. Yeah, okay, Greg, no problem. So we've had a total of 9 views, and concurrently there are 4 people viewing, and we've had 1 like up to now. So that's this week's figures. Okay, not much else to add. I will thanks for doing the net, and we'll catch up next week. G4 NRC, G7NEH.
G7NEH, G4 and RC. Okay. At some point I really must try and figure out setting up another screen to watch for any comments that come back on the YouTube screening, rather than necessarily having to wait for you to read them all out as we go one turn around. But still running this off 1, 2, 3, 4 windows and 2 screens at the moment, and another one might just take me over the edge. Anyway, thanks for doing the streaming, Graham, and I'll talk to you soon. Trevor G4KUJ, for the next few hours or so, I expect if you probe around Arden you might get to see G0DUB-3, which is back to the black art thing. The mesh node on the other side of the sitting room from the gateway node that seems to resolutely refuse to connect to the other one. or doesn't do so reliably, so I'll be interested if you do manage to see through to the -3 node. G4 KUJ, G4 and RC over.
G4 and RC, G4 KUJ. Replying, okay, just left a slightly longer pause this time. Hope that the other issue from last time isn't there. Okay, noted about DUB-3. I'll keep an eye out for that. And it's nice to see that Drew actually responded to the email I sent him during the week, and his links on the Supernode now seem to be all back in good order, so that's great. Nothing further. It should be around next week, next Sunday. We'll catch up with you maybe on another mode during the week, but I will keep a lookout for DUB-3. G4 NRC, and thanks for running the net. This is G4 KUJ.
For KUJ, okay, acknowledge Trevor, thank you, and thanks for helping out with the log today as well. So that's 2 to go, and we're in a nice habit of finishing the net early. It's almost as if it's a basketball day. G4 HUF, down to you, Phil, for a final. G4 NRC, over.
It is G4 HUF, right, yeah, okay. I was just thinking about the blackout thing. I mean, one of the wonders or benefits that we've had in Cheshire is our friend Mobtech, with good engineering skills in several disciplines, plus a very good local knowledge of the particularly the geography of the area, who is able to dash to a particular point and help resolve issues at checkpoints with those less experienced. And we had a similar situation last weekend. We were at the penultimate checkpoint in Woodbridge at the Sea Scout hut. Communications were wonderful with the mag mount on the tin roof of the hut until it was around daylight, sunrise time, and the signal just went right off. I tried resolving it with a clip-on panorama antenna in a different position, but I wasn't successful. And I think he's actually an Essex man, came up from control, and he had some heavy-duty tie wraps and a little bit of local knowledge. We repositioned the antenna, and hey presto, we had communications again. That definitely confirmed the black art aspect of the job. Of course, I've got trout race in a fortnight's time, which is going to be fun. But I'll email you about that separately. And something else went through my brain straight out the other side. But not to worry, I'll bore you stupid with a couple of emails later on this evening after Bruce has fed us. So that's what you've got to look forward to, Greg. G4 NRC, this is Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot. Thanks for running that. Bye.
Or HUF, G4 NRC. Okay, yeah, I haven't got the date for Wrinkle Trout, but if you punt some stuff across to me, I gave my group some dates yesterday and a general email for our own solitary events at the back end of the year, plus support requests that had come in from Wirral for a couple of weeks' time and beyond. So if you've got more, then I shall put another request out, no problem. Okay, thanks Phil. Thanks for being on today. And closing the net today, it's Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC and the group, this is G3ZHX. Yes, I'm used to being tail end Charlie. My surname is quite a long way up the alphabet. I was always the last person to be picked for anything. Yeah, I've got one story about the black art of radio. I was helping out Milton Keynes group once. I was at one end of Willen Lake, and control was operating from a building about halfway down. And it got quiet in the afternoon, and the guy in control came out with a handheld, and he came out to wave to me. He walked up to the edge of the lake and waved, and by the time he got to the edge of the lake, his signal had completely disappeared, but I could see him waving, which is just, it must have been reflection off the water. I can't remember what that is. Rayleigh interference? No, it doesn't sound right. Whatever. So, yes, at the point where I could see him, I couldn't hear him. And that's probably enough of that. So thanks for running the net, Greg, and thanks for streaming, Graham, and I am now going QRT, G3ZHX.
Checks, G4 and RC returning. Interesting, as he started that story, threw me right back to a Merseyside RAYNET exercise at Speke Airport. And I went to Eastham, which is a village on the Wirral just opposite the airport, with a let's see what I can hear and if any links are required. And much the same issue. Even though I could see flashy blue lights for the exercise going on the airfield, there was no way any radio of any consequence was making it across the river at that point in time. So yes, blackouts, but how we know what we're doing when we're doing it. Sure, that's something that can be used on a t-shirt somewhere. Okay, thanks everybody for your participation today. Thanks for taking part this afternoon. Be careful, have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I'll close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net on talk groups 23531 Pheonix and Brandmeister and 50 23531 on the RAYNET-UK system, and return those talk groups to being an open net rather than a directed net. 730, this is G4 and RC now closing and reverting to my normal call sign of Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo. Bye bye.